Positive Communication Skills and Feedback by Shar'a Stith. Introduction. I am going to be focusing on the consistency of communication, speech, and attentiveness, body language, patience, listening, and feedback through dialogue. Overarching goals. My overarching goal would be to remove myself from any given situation to see the viewpoint from another individual's perspective. Therefore, an individual would have to have complete eye contact, be very attentive to the individual's body language, words, and actions. Lastly, be very patient, be a great listener, and follow through with facts when giving feedback. Background and behavior blends. My background and behavior blend in a positive perspective would be great listening skills, great understanding, knowing how to place myself in an individual situation, and showing empathy and sympathy depending on the circumstance. My background and behavior blend in a negative perspective is that my emotions at times becomes too involved. My response is sometimes misinterpreted, and sometimes I can easily get offended if misunderstood or if the conversation is misinterpreted. Communication barriers. Through this conversation, it depends on who I am conversing with at that particular moment in the topic of discussion. The topic can be a heated, opinionated, and factual dialogue. Through these barriers, a person can be hindered by not receiving or understanding what the conversation is about. 5 key barriers that can occur: language, culture diversity, gender differences, status differences, and physical separation. In the next few slides, I'll be giving you the definitions and a few examples of the 5 key barriers. Language. We define language as being the interpretation of speech and motions, speaking with clarity to be understood. Sometimes it's difficulties in communication. It can become a major roadblock during dialogue. For example, pronunciation, repetition of words, meaning and translation. Culture diversity. One's beliefs or outlook through their traditions, background, and dress. It's pretty self-explanatory. Gender differences. It's a thought process between a man and a woman and the outlook to how they perceive a given situation through conversation. An example could be the body language, your listening skills, patience, feedback. Status differences. It's the rank or standing that an individual has in the eyes of others. Example could be your lower class versus your upper class, or your college graduate versus a high school graduate, an employed individual versus an unemployed individual. Physical separation. It's loneliness and not being able to physically bond with the individual or situation. An example could be not being able to deal with reality or even acceptance and also self-worth. Challenges on communication barriers. Out of the 5 key components, I found that 1, physical separation, and 2, gender differences was a challenge for me. Physical separation was a challenge because I was not able to face reality and mentally disconnected from life, especially after the loss of my father and grandfather, who were key components in my life. I was really not able to talk about it until now. Gender differences is another challenge for me because I cannot fully understand the mindset of the male versus a female. I know that I am not a male, but from a female perspective, it appears that we think totally different than our male counterparts. And I found this to be true in my own relationship. The outlook of life, conversation, and lifestyle through communication skills sometimes cause unnecessary disagreements. Resources: Bridges Not Walls, Stuart J., 2012. 3 things to accept about myself. 1, you will make mistakes. 2, your intentions are complex. And 3, you have contributed to the problem. In the text of John Stewart, I had to admit to myself that I do make mistakes, and I had to learn from them. Through my conversation, my past behavior was not always motivated by good intentions. Therefore, I had to ground myself and take responsibility for what I contributed in the problem. Communication. In the text of Claire Rogers, communication failures may occur when information is unclear, which can cause a problem when too much information is given all at once and incomplete. That's Rogers 2015. Through this, I strategically had to learn how to be precise in communicating, giving feedback, applying listening skills, patience, and positive body language. Communication continued. In the text of Reuben, leadership plays a perspective role in communication by providing guidance, vision, charisma, and creativity during dialogue. The importance of leadership during communication is helping one to feel important, supported, and comfortable with whom they are conversing with. It's Rubin 2016. Strategic solutions. Strategically, I had to learn how to listen completely to the individual, give facts, take leadership, and provide positive feedback for them to overcome their situation. Also, I had to figure out ways to reach potential goals and connections. Action plans. Step 1, being a great listener. Step 2, be very supportive and intrigued. Step 3, always be professional and letting the individual know I care and will be there when needed. Conclusion. In conclusion, God has always given us a word of encouragement during our difficult times and circumstances. Whenever you feel down and out, there are 2 scriptures to keep in mind. 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 7 states, Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. And Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Zondervan, 1994. I chose these two particular scriptures because they have gotten me through my tough circumstances when I was struggling with communication of sharing my thoughts, my feelings, and my emotions to others. God gave me the encouragement through these scriptures to get by. I only hope that these scriptures help you as well. This concludes my presentation. I have included my resources. I want to thank you for your time in listening.